I don't.
No, I just curious because it was Sunday.
Okay. Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our meeting for Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. This is a hybrid meeting. We do have people online as well as in the audience. It's 9:30, so call the meeting to order. I'm going to start off with the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen is located on the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa Nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations, which includes Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Beausoleil, and Georgina Island First Nation. The Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen respectfully acknowledges that the Williams Treaties First Nations are the stewards and caretakers of the lands and waters into perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. With that, ask everybody to please put your cell phones on vibrate or put them away so it doesn't disturb the meeting. And I'll remind council of the declaration of community interest. If it arises, you can declare it now, or if something comes up later, declare it then. Before we get into the meeting, I will ask that everybody, if you have a question or comment, please put your hand high and until I acknowledge it, and then we'll move on just so I don't miss anybody. So we have minutes here from the regular council meeting of February 20th. If all is in order, I'll look for a motion to receive them. Moved by Councillor Clement, seconded by Councillor Doherty. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, we're going to start off with a delegation here and a presentation from Jason St. Pierre, Chief Executive Officer with Bjorn, and Lisa Severson, Communications Director. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me okay? And I apologize if I'm a little raspy here. I'm just coming off my wife and kids would say a man cold, so it probably wasn't that bad, but it seemed to knock me out. So if I start hacking and coughing, I apologize in advance, and Lisa will jump in and cover off for me. So
okay.
I think we've oh, there it is. Perfect. Thank you very much. All right, great. Well, we've got that up there, so thank you very much. You can see the presentation. We thank you for taking the time and allowing us to come and give an update on where the project is. My name is Jason St. Pierre. I've been with the Eastern Ontario Regional Network now for about 18 months, and this is my first opportunity to meet this group. So thank you for inviting us in and giving us the chance to bring you up to date on where we are with the Cell Gap project, some of the challenges and concerns we see, and the benefits of the program, etc. So we'll go through a deck here with you. And again, if you can't hear me, just please let me know, and I will do my best to either speak up or I'll hand it off to Lisa for support. And the next slide, please. Oh, sorry, this looks a little different than the presentation I'd already looked at once, so I think I might have had the wrong one. But if I look in, so overall, the project that we have is to close the digital cellular gap within Eastern Ontario. The Eastern Ontario Regional Network, working under the direction of the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, had been given targets, or we felt based on challenges that were provided to us that we would be able to meet or exceed the goals to provide cellular coverage in Eastern Ontario, where 99% of people live, work, and travel on major roadways throughout Eastern Ontario, so that they could make and receive cellular phone calls. So basic connectivity, we have quite a few spots today. For those who travel throughout Eastern Ontario, you're well aware of the dead zones and where you know you're going to lose services. Through this project, we are looking to close those gaps for that basic communication type. In that same footprint area, we're looking to achieve 95% coverage for standard definition service levels. So this is your basic data applications, email, light media browsing, social media, etc., where people will live, work, and travel. So most of our footprint territory. And we have a target of 85% of the area in Eastern Ontario, where we are looking to bring in high definition services, which can support video conferencing, movie streaming, and other higher data application services. Video calls, Zoom calls, etc., are probably the biggest one that we hear of today. And based on what we've seen in our propagation mapping, we are well on target to meet these goals, all three of them. The next slide, please. Just as an overview of the project, we have approximately 312 existing sites in Eastern Ontario that will be upgraded from LTE or voice services to be able to support the 4 and 5G services, but 5G is the biggest one, and as well as the handsets that support those. Of those, we have 307 of those sites that have been completed already, so we're making very, very good progress in the upgrades. We have approximately 257 new sites. We say approximately because we are still finalizing the last number of sites. So this may go up to 259 sites, may go down to 255, but approximately 257 sites that will be built. 26 of these are currently in service. So we're not exactly where we were hoping to be at this point on this, but we are starting to see good progress made with the funnel of work that's now in the hopper for Rogers. And we have 75 sites where co-location will take place. So this a tower is owned by a Bell or another third-party tower provider, and Rogers will be looking to co-locate on this. And we have 47 sites of those that have been completed so far in the project. We are looking to have this completed, the work completed by the end of 2026. And based on our current propagations, as mentioned, we will meet or exceed our project goals. We also, which is one of the interesting parts of this one, is we do have a service level agreement in place for 5 years after the project is complete to ensure that we have the capacity that we're guaranteed through this project. So it's not just a build the project and walk away. We will be here to help support and monitor this project to ensure we have enough capacity and bandwidth through the network for the next 5 years. Next slide, please. The benefits of the project, you know, the obvious ones are always, you know, closing the coverage gaps to help people stay connected. The network we're building will have an overlap ability on it, so that there will be, I won't say there'll be no black spots, but there'll be a lot less spots where you're not able to be connected. We're increasing the capacity in the network, so building 257 new sites. A number of those will be fiberized sites where fiber optic cable will be brought in for the backhaul. The 5G radio upgrades increase the capacity by, I think it's almost 100 times what the traditional LTE model will support. So allowing more users to use those networks, even at peak capacity times. We're going to improve public safety, so the ability for residents in rural areas to make 911 calls, to have coverage for new technologies that are coming out, fail-safe devices, 5G-enabled type applications that will help people age in place. For those who are on the trails or on the roadways, access to be able to make a call if needed for support or for help. We're looking to improve municipal services for the paramedics and the public works. There's smart city and IoT applications that are able to be reviewed or implemented. But the network needs to be there first to be able to support that. It needs to be a robust network that has enough capacity to accept and to manage the type of data levels that would be required to really bring new applications in. The other one we often talk about here is in the paramedic space. The 5G network with the ability to do video calls will allow paramedics while en route to emergencies to be able to do a triage type call with the emergency room. So the emergency room knows what's coming in as far as the issues are concerned and can work with the paramedics to prep them to the best of the skill sets while on the way today in real time with video. Improved economic opportunities and the tourism experience. A lot of our territories in the rural areas, you know, we see that May 2-4 spike. Well, it used to be May 2-4. I think now it's probably Easter weekend. We see the spike where tourism booms in our rural economies, and people are looking for similar type of services that they receive in their urban areas to be able to stay longer at the cottage or at their rental place, extend the weekend, or take an extra week holiday in the summer, but be able to stay connected at close enough to the office to be able to do that. It also allows for people to search for tourism opportunities while you're in the area. You may scroll or look to see what else you could do while you're on vacation in that area, and having that network will allow for those types of services to be able to be provided. The new towers will allow for future deployment of fixed wireless and new technology. So the infrastructure that's being built through this project isn't a 25-year window. The towers that are being built are, slated to look at 50 years plus. Some of these towers that are out here today are 60, 65 years old. And this will allow for future technology to be attached to those towers without new infrastructure being built. Will also allow for some fixed wireless to be attached to this to expand their footprints as well. So once the infrastructure is built, it'll be here for future use as well. Next slide, please. So why adding the sites is required? We often have this question when we're out in the public as to why do we need to build new towers. So as new technology increases and we move towards the 5G footprint, the coverage space that the services will cover is reduced. So the old voice services, we used to use an average of 22 kilometers from a tower. You should be able to make a phone call because you're in that coverage footprint. But the data usage and the packet size on those are quite small, so you can go a long way to be able to make those calls. As we increase the intensity of the data that's being used in each of those standard definition and high definition service levels, that footprint is reduced or shrinks because of the amount of data and connectivity that's required to be able to make those, send those messages or watch those videos. So in order for us to be able to do this, we have to add additional capacity and towers within the network to be able to interconnect those tower sites. So as if this slide was working the way it was originally designed, you would see that go across those cell sites, and it gives you that seamless handoff of connectivity from each of those sites. So as an end user, you don't realize that you're switching tower sites, and you're able to continue to make those calls, or if you have kids in the back seat, watch those videos as they head down the highway. And the other part that's important to understand is really each of those towers are interconnected. So when we designed the network, or when Rogers in this case designed the network, it was taken into account what would be required for a seamless handoff and a seamless ability for connectivity throughout Eastern Ontario. Hence where the 257 tower sites came up, where those towers are interconnected to be able to give us that 99% voice coverage. Next slide, please. So just for the team here, just a quick view. Most of the towers that we are building in this project are between 60 and 90 meters high. They will all immediately support 4G and 5G, so those signals will switch back and forth. So that's not additional equipment required for the 5G, but we'll do both. And having both the 4 and 5G capacity allows for incremental capacity on the sites and future-proofs today's network. So it'll allow for us to be able to use the handsets that are there today as they catch up into the next 5G generations. The next one, please. So the equipment, we just like to show this because just for an appreciation on the size of the equipment that's going on. So the antennas, which are the sort of the longer rectangular gray boxes on the structure there, each of those are about the height of a door, and they weigh about as much as your refrigerator. So it's not a small piece of equipment that's being attached to these tower sites. Generally, they're attached before they're hoisted onto the tower, so it's all done at the ground level. But in some cases, such as the upgrades, the same antennas are used, but they would be installed either by winched up by an installation crew or lifted in place by a crane. The next slide, please. So the financial breakdown. Overall, we say it's it's over a $300 million investment in Eastern Ontario, and that's before in-kind contributions or community benefits are included. When we're looking at our current project, we're close to about $330 million is where we think this investment will end. The split of that is the Ontario government has contributed $71 million to the program. The federal government had contributed just under $71 million to the project. The EOWC and the EOMC made just over a $10 million contribution to the program. And Rogers, as our partner, has made a minimum investment commitment of $150 million in Eastern Ontario. So it's a very large commitment for us in this project. Next slide, please. So this is always the part where we get into the part that people really care about. The first few slides are always nice to see, but it's what's the impact for us. So if we look at the builds in Peterborough County and then the builds directly into the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen, go across the piece. So in the county, we've proposed that 25 new towers would be built, and those have been completed. Within the township, there was one upgrade that was finished. In new builds, there are 25 new towers to be built within Peterborough County. 2 to date have been finished. Within the townships, we have 6 new tower sites that are proposed to be built. To date, we have not built any of those yet. In the co-locations across the county, there was 3 that were to be done, and those have been finished. 1 in the township, which has been completed as well. And then the land use authority. So within the county, we have 25 sites, which aligns to the new tower sites to be approved, of which 15 have been finished. Within the township itself, we have 6 land use authorities that are required, of which we have 2 that have been completed. Excuse me for it. Okay, sorry, next slide, please. This information, these are the more site-specific information and quick map of where they reside. So across there is the 7 sites throughout Havelock-Belmont-Methuen. If we look at it, there's the first 3 up in the sort of the northern area, Cordova Lake, Barrett Lake, and Methuen Lake. Some comments sort of where they are, just for reference for the team here. We also have a spot, Jack Lake East, which we are still looking at locations at this point. So that's being worked through by the Rogers real estate team to try to find a suitable location that would meet the needs of the project, as well as not have a large impact on the community. And then we have the 3 in the lower, which the Round Lake site is a co-location, is in service. The Rockdale site construction should be starting any day now if it hasn't already. And then the Fire Road, the Hubble Road site has been built, but it's not quite in service yet. And I think, if I'm correctly, so we might be waiting for hydro on that one, right? So we're just waiting for a hydro connection on that one to be able to fire it up. Now the top 3, just for staff to be aware, and I know they have been, or they are aware, and they've been great working with our teams here. The LUA process, we are looking to get those started in March. So next slide, please. So the steps to construction, we always like to include this just to understand how the timelines it takes for us to be able to, from the time we select a site, or we're able to select a site till it's in service, what that looks like. And this overall process can go anywhere from 12 to 24 months, depending on how the process works. But first step for us is to be able to find a property that meets the needs of that network. So when we looked at the overall topography, we create a propagation map. And from that, site selection within a 5-kilometer radius would be selected to try to best understand where we could put that tower, in the perfect model. Once that's done, and the theoretical piece, the rubber hits the road, and it's time to go out to the field and try to find the right location that would meet that, and the right to find a willing landowner that would be willing to work with us on this project and host this tower site. Once we've been successful or Rogers Real Estate has been successful in finding a landlord who'd be willing to work with us, a negotiation takes place on the lease. Once that lease has been signed and we've secured that space, we, as EORN and Rogers, conduct an archaeological assessment, a stage 1 and a stage 2, as well as a natural heritage assessment on the proposed site. So for us in Eastern Ontario at this point right now, we are doing 257 archaeological assessments on sites throughout Eastern Ontario. That process within itself can take anywhere between 6 to 8 months, and of course can't do it in the winter months, so it is seasonally driven as well. Once we've finished that and we've got the approval or there's no findings on these sites, we do follow the land use authority process within the municipality. So we know the site is good. We come back to the municipality knowing that we've got a clean site, then we start that LUA process. Once we've been successful in the LUA process, we've gone through all the steps required there. We'll notify the province that the site is ready to proceed. And then site preparation, ordering, delivery of materials, supplies, and construction begin. Throughout the entire project, we do have a commitment to the Crown to consult and to work with the Indigenous communities and organizations throughout Eastern Ontario. We have 18 communities that we do interface with and make sure that they are aware of the process and progress that we are making on the project, as well as the site locations and any findings or issues or concerns that may arise. But that is an ongoing process as well through the life of the project. Next slide, please. So the municipalities. Municipalities are key in this for us to be able to continue to move these projects forward. So the municipalities are responsible for the land use authority for any of those new sites. So within this area, we have the 6 new tower sites that we're looking at. As I said, 3 of them are coming forward in March. 3 are already well down the pipe or finished. So we are making good progress there. To date, we've completed over 200 planned tower sites. So we're making some good progress in there, but there has been some challenges. And again, we agree and understand it's not always easy for the staff or the local elected officials to go through this process, as there can be a number of challenges. But once we've received the approvals, the municipalities are also key in moving the project forward by working with Rogers on processing building applications, or if there's any issues or concerns, keeping those clear lines of communication open with EORN as well as Rogers to ensure that we can help try to support or mitigate any issues or current concerns that may be ongoing. We have, as EORN, created a resource document that can be used by the municipalities. And Lisa, myself, the tech team, we are always available to come and meet with staff or residents to try to help support in any way in which we can. And there's just the link to the tower site there on the tower siting policy. Next slide, please. So ISED, which is the Innovation, Science and Economic Development Group of Canada, ultimately has the final authority under the Radio Communications Act to approve each site on which radio apparatus, including towers, may be located and approved. So ultimately, they do have the final say on this, and you'll hear that from time to time. But ISED, and we've done quite a bit of work with ISED, they are huge supporters of having the TSPs or the telecom providers work with the local public and with the local municipalities towards finding a solution. And we as EORN also take this approach where we have a need and a requirement and a reason for the projects and the locations where they're selected, but we appreciate that there can be challenges in certain site selections. So we do take the ISED lead on this to be able to work with the municipalities to the best of our abilities to find suitable locations that will work for the municipality, the network design, as well as the coverage service coverage areas that we're looking to provide. Under the ISED procedure, if either the LUA or the telecom believes the discussions have reached an impasse, either can formally request a departmental intervention concerning a reasonable or relevant concern. And reasonable and relevant concerns are pretty well defined within the ISED documents. I don't know if it's on our next slide. Yeah, so maybe we'll just go to the next slide. It'll be in there. So there are certain things that are considered a relevant concern to be concluded. So concerns considered relevant are why is the use of an existing tower not possible? So that is something that through our project that we've, and as well as for Rogers, if there's co-location possible, that is our first step, is we'd like to be able to do that rather than build a new tower. Is an alternate site possible? We often will look at alternate sites, but part of that signing the lease and finding a willing landowner if we find a willing landowner that falls within the footprint that we've proposed as of right now, typically that will stop the process of looking for alternate sites unless there's a reason to do so. So we are fortunate when we're able to find a willing landlord or landowner to be able to work with. So alternatives can be considered, but the reason they may not be initially considered is once you've found a willing partner in this, it is typically stops that process, and we work towards creating the lease and ensuring that we can start the public communications pieces of the process. So what's the TSP not doing, or sorry, what's the TSP doing to ensure the tower is not accessible to general public? That's their typical standard safety stuff. How are they trying to integrate the tower into the local surroundings? So again, that's something that Rogers takes quite seriously, and they take that into consideration when they're doing site selection. What options are available to satisfy aeronautical obstructions at marking equipment at this site? So if, NavCan has a say in this as well to ensure the proper lighting and there's proper visibility for safety. And what steps the telco took to ensure the compliance with the general requirements of this document, including the Canadian Environmental Assessment Act and Safety Code 6, etc. So these are items that I said would be considering. Concerns that are not relevant, and we like to use the word not relevant. We often hear people use irrelevant. That's not quite it, but not relevant. So disputes with the members of the public related to the telco services, but not related to the installation. Potential effects of proposed tower systems of a property value or municipal taxes are not relevant to the ISED positioning. And questions whether the Radio Telecommunications Act, Broadcasting Antenna System, Safety Code 6, locally established bylaws, other legislation, procedures, and processes are valid or should be reformed in some manner are not relevant to the ISED process. Next slide, please. So the timelines for us, currently our upgrades, we are well on track to have those finished. I think we have one tricky one left to be done. That's really might throw a little bit on this, but we're looking to have our upgrades finished by the end of this year. We're looking to have our land use authority process for the remaining sites, and I think we're about 80 sites, I think, at least left to be done by the end of this year. The Indigenous consultation process continues throughout the life of the project, as well as new tower construction will go right until 2026. And we will be doing a variety of announcements throughout Eastern Ontario over the next till 2026 as well. Next slide. That's it. So I don't know, Lisa, is there anything else like that? Just
No, just want to thank staff for all their work on this, and we know it's not easy sometimes, and we recognize that, especially for the elected officials when they're out in the community, and we're available to assist however we can.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for the presentation. Yeah, it's been going on for a while now. I haven't really noticed a lot of difference in the North Country as far as reception and things like that, but I imagine a lot's going to happen over the next couple of years here by the looks of it. So I'll open it up to council here and see if they have any questions for you. Questions for the group? Go ahead.
Just through you, Mayor. You said there's kind of a hold up I see on the tower builds themselves, and I think you might have gone through in the presentation, but is most of the impediment to the tower builds kind of going through the LUA or land use agreement, like just the time it takes to go through that process, or has there been other kind of holdups?
Sorry, and then my computer's kind of quiet on me today, or my ears are plugged, I'm not really sure, but so sorry, the question was around just the slowdown to the project, what the cause has been, or? Well,
yeah, just the delay, because it seems like your upgrades and stuff kind of all went on schedule and got done pretty quickly. But it's the actual new tower construction that's lagging behind. But you kind of walked us through that maybe that's going to get caught up here, obviously, in the last year or two of the thing. But said for the numbers, I think it was whatever Seth. I don't know. Hold on, I'm going to go back to it here, but anyways.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah, well, I was just wondering. Like there's just a lag in terms of the builds, but I understand there's obviously a longer process that goes through for a lot of that. So is that just kind of what the holdup is in the new construction?
Well, it's a couple of folds. So that is a good question. So it is a couple of folds. So when the project first was announced, the duty to consult with the Indigenous communities was just being worked through from the provincial government. And as part of our project, we were delegated the authority to represent the Crown in the manner of duty to consult. Part of the challenge, though, was it wasn't well defined what the process and the end result would look like. We needed meaningful consultation, but there's no clear definition of what that meant. So that took us a lot of effort and a lot of meetings and a lot of discussion with the Indigenous communities, with the province, and internally to understand what that looked like. And it took us about 13 months to be able to come to a conclusion of what a meaningful consultation under the duty to consult would equate to. So while that was going on, we couldn't start brand new tower sites because we didn't know how the full level of engagement would be required with the communities that we were working with. While that was going on, though, we were able to do the upgrades because that was service on existing towers and some of the co-locations. So that's why you saw those move forward so quickly while we were going through the duty to consult process on the new sites to be built. Now, yeah, go ahead, Lisa, go.
Sorry, and Jason's correct on that. We've also run into an issue with sites that CRINS has managed. An independent tower, they would do the land use authority. I think maybe your municipality use CRINS, and there's been a bit of a lag, well, not a bit of a lag, there's been delays with that company making land use approvals.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Any other questions for the group? All right, well, thank you very much for the presentation. It's always good to keep up on this. Like you say, we do have people asking all the time, more so in the summer when they don't have any service. How are we going to get it? And do see things happening around, like you say, towers up, but no power to them yet. But hopefully that'll make a difference once they start. So thank you for today's presentation. And if there's no other questions for them, I'll look for a motion to receive the delegation. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, seconded by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then. So the next item on the agenda is staff report for information. Is there anything there that you'd like to speak to? There's several things here. Go ahead, Jerry.
Here you go, Mayor Martin. The report from the fire chief. Maybe I've forgotten, but I thought we were going to get a breakdown of how many calls the fire chief responded to, as well as the deputy fire chief, so that we know if there's a distribution or how it's working.
Okay, Ray.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, through you, Mayor Martin. I can get that for you if you like, and I can bring a report to council on that.
Okay. So do you want to make an emotion now? Did you have a motion in there that you wanted that? That you were looking for that, or was that just something?
My recollection was when the DFC was hired, that was one of the conditions that we put on, that the reporting procedure would be altered to reflect the calls, but perhaps it was just a conversation, but I thought it was part and parcel of the addition. But
okay, could that be added to your report, Ray, as far as for future reports to show yours and the deputies?
Yes, I can bring something to council on that. Yes.
Even maybe a separate report on that rather than just included in these reports, or maybe moving forward, what would you like, Councillor Doherty, like a report as part of this report, show the deputy chief and the chief's attendance?
well, I think it creates an environment for the deputy chief, and it gives us an idea. I don't think I want you to go back and do checking, Ray, but what about February's, if we could make some add another column or something there, or divide the column
Oh,
in half or whatever.
Yep.
What would work, Rick?
Yeah, I'll figure something out and try and separate the calls from who's responding to where and what.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else in the reports for information that you would like to speak to or pull out? Seeing none, motion to receive the staff reports for information. Okay, moved by Councillor Clement, seconded by Deputy Mayor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, the next is reports with follow-up action. And the first reporter is Josh Story, Supervisor of Parks, with regard to indoor recreation equipment. Welcome, Josh.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
Morning, Josh.
The purpose of this report was to obtain council's approval to transfer $10,000 from Parks Reserve into a Parks Capital for the purchase of indoor recreation equipment. I can go into a little bit of background with this. In the 2022 budget, $10,000 from Parks Reserve was allocated to the West End Park basketball court project. We were then going to bring in indoor sports equipment inside the arena. Due to staffing shortages, we weren't able to get that project underway. Now that we're back up to full staff here, we feel comfortable. We're able to have that service. So it is recommended that council approves the transfer of $10,000 for the purchase of indoor sports equipment.
Okay. All right, then, so it's just a transfer from the West End Park into the arena. As was
That's
discussed. Okay. Council Stock there. Council Fliger, go ahead.
Yes, Josh. So my understanding is you want to purchase basketball nets and put them inside the arena on the,
Through you, Mayor Martin, correct. We're going to actually purchase one, do a half court. The best setup here is to put it on the lobby wall. So we're not having a self-supported net and worrying about toppling over or affecting the glass in any way. We're also looking to purchase 6 pickleball nets and 32 paddles and also 32 balls.
okay, so what would the hours of the arena be? Would that be 7 days a week? Would it be open? For the use of those?
Through you, Mayor Martin, we're in the early stages of planning this yet. I'm thinking 3 days a week. We've looked into other municipalities and what they do with pickleball, and it seems to be a 2-hour time block. So we're thinking at this stage, 3 days a week, two hours per.
All right, well, that sounds really good. Now, what about the basketball net? Is that gonna be used at the same time as pickleball? And would it not be appropriate to have a basketball court outside?
Through you, Mayor Martin, we were going to see the need for basketball first before we pursued anything outside. And we're gonna evaluate how busy we are and we'll go from there.
Okay, but the hours of operation is only gonna be 1 to 2 days a week or 3 days a week?
Right now, we're thinking 3 days a week, possibly 4, 2 hours each. That's correct. The planning and this part of this is not quite complete. Today, we're just asking for the funds to be reallocated. When we do figure out what we're going to do, a full report will come to council.
Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions?
Like this, we're clear. I thought when we were gonna do the indoor programs, it was around basketball and things that are more kind of youth related. Now it seems like it's turned into a pickleball court, which we're already kind of building and we already have one. down here at the other end. So I'm just wondering how we shifted to pickleball from kind of indoor basketball and floor hockey and other things.
Through you, Mayor Martin, we're shifting to pickleball because there's an extreme need for pickleball in our area. We are one of the only ones that do not offer that. We're just trying to see the need for the basketball, and if there's a strong desire, then we'll carry on with something else.
I think like Deputy Mayor is saying, as you move forward, there's enough money there that, you know, if there is a need, like I know at my school meeting, I talked to them about making better use of the arena, and there is a call out there for floor hockey and things like that, but I think that can all, these nets are just portable, so that can all be incorporated in, and I think the whole idea in the end is we should make good use of that money and try and make sure, you know, everybody's able to use it, so but you're right, it's there's a call out there. I've been talking to a lot of neighboring municipalities and they can't keep up, so they're asking if we have anything, and I just say no, not at this time, but we're working on it. So okay, Councilor Doherty, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I believe where the pickleball come in was, I think, last year's budget. We put in money to put in the nets at the arena, but that somehow or other got canceled because of what Josh said. There was a lack of staff for the program. So I don't think pickleball is new to us at the arena. I think it was there last year, but somebody decided that we didn't have enough. So I guess we're just reactivating that. I guess that's what.
Yeah.
Through you, Mayor Martin, we have not offered pickleball. We don't have any equipment yet. This is what we're trying to obtain today.
But I think that's what the discussion was when this was allocated, was or when it was, we talked about moving it, but we never got there. Last budget, there was discussion around moving it to the arena, and then staffing changes and things didn't happen, so
that is correct.
you have your hand up, Beth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I didn't see it, so hold it up high. So, thank you.
Great. Through you, Mayor Martin. Just one more question, Josh. Do we not have a pickleball? It was lying down at the, I'm sorry, tennis court. Was there not a pickleball lines for down there? And your program that you want to run at the arena, are we charging funds for this?
Through you, Mayor Martin, you are correct. The tennis court is lined out for pickleball. And through research from what other municipalities do, they charge anywhere from $2 to $5 a participant.
Okay, one more question, Mayor. So through you, Mayor Martin. So this program is going to be advertised, and then you're going to see how many kids you get, and who is running the actual program?
Through you, Mayor Martin. So yes, we are going to well advertise that we are now offering these services. Depending on the hours of operation, we're going to start with the daytime. So myself or any of the other summer staff will be able to supervise that. If there's a need for nighttime, we might have to rely on our new overtime relief position person.
Okay, thank you, Josh.
You're welcome.
Gary, you had a question?
Right. Pickleball, it was in the budget last year. It wasn't, we talked about it. It was in there. We simply did not spend the money. We elected not to because we didn't have a coordinator. So this is not a new venture. This is just revitalizing last year's, where we now have the staff to do it. That's how I'm reading it. And we shifted the money to the other reserves. So this is just shifting it back. Am I grasping that right, Josh?
Through your Mayor Martin, I believe so, Councillor Doherty. We're just asking to have that reallocated out of the reserves and back into a capital project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, so
I'm sorry, through you, Mayor Martin. So basketball and pickleball is gonna be on the same, in the arena at the same time. Is that correct?
Through you, Mayor Martin, I don't believe we're gonna do both at the same time.
really early right now to see what kind of call there is gonna be for it, so. You know, they're just setting the program. This is just to get it moving and we'll have a better idea once once he sees what kind of interest there is.
So through you, Mayor Martin, so there is not gonna be basketball in the arena. There's gonna be pickleball in the arena, which you are gonna charge for. And are you gonna have a lady or a gentleman in there teaching them how to play pickleball with the rules, regulations? Because I believe you have to be qualified to do anything like that when you're involved with kids.
Through you, Mayor Martin, again, we are in the early stages. If that has to be the case, we'll investigate that. I didn't really plan on having somebody come in. We were looking online. It does seem relatively easy. The guy in the video said within 20 minutes, you could be an expert, so.
Okay, thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Okay, so there is a recommendation here and it's basically just to transfer the funds that were in the 2022 capital budget over to the arena.
Make the motion.
Okay, moved by Councillor Doherty and seconded by Councillor Clement.
Yeah.
All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on here is Lionel Towns, our treasurer, with regards to the amended first tax installment due date. So, Lionel, is there anything we have off here?
No speech here. I don't have anything to add to the report.
The recommendation is bylaw number 2024-18 being a bylaw to adopt the estimates for 2024 to establish the adopted rates and provide a minimum tax. And the dates are as follows. The interim due date, it was amending the interim due date to March 28th, is that right?
Future, that's correct.
Okay. All right then, so recommendations for you. Questions, comments?
Okay. Yeah, make a motion that we approve it. Just a question around. I got a few questions from the public. When did we hand out the first installment last year? What was the date? It was around the same, it was just later than.
For each year, I think it was around the same time, but I can check. I'm not sure.
No, I don't know, because I got a couple. Somebody stopped me at the post office. We got a phone call about just asking me why the tax bills weren't out, and I don't pay attention to really the date when I get mine. I just pay it, but that's why I'm just asking. So, but I know we did the budget in a different sequence this year, so I figure that might have something to do with it as well. But sorry.
And yeah, that might, they're all over the place, like nobody has the same, like it's not a standard date, so I see other municipalities went out last month. And that might be.
Maybe that's what it was.
Might
Somebody
be,
else.
so,
Okay.
Because I know we changed ours a few years ago and because somebody asked us, it was something around the school contribution or whatever, school board contribution, and we changed it, it was coming in at a different time. Anyways, so.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Okay, so moved by Deputy Mayor Webb that the recommendation is moved. Seconder, Councillor Flagler, questions, comments?
What is the motion just to change, just to set the dates? Because Lionel's got two updates in here and I just
To change it from it was the 29th, but that's the holiday.
that's all the motion's for.
Up to the 28th.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay. So the next item on here is Bob, with regards to the amendment to the procedure bylaw.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, this report presents to council for an adoption of the amended procedure bylaw. the procedure bylaw is amended to adjust the starting time of council meetings following the holiday Monday from 1 o'clock to 9:30. The procedure bylaw also eliminates the need for council approval regarding virtual attendance of a council member at a council meeting.
Okay. Any questions around that? Go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, sorry. Through you, Mr. Mayor. The one for this says that the duration of the meeting is 3 hours. I would like to put forward the recommendation that we change that to 4.
So it is 4 with the extension at 12:30. If we need to go past the curfew, in there, it does say from 12:30, there is an extension of an hour possible. Does that cover it or?
No,
Okay,
I want to change the 3 to a 4.
okay, it's. All right then, so you're making that a motion?
Yes,
Okay,
we're going to do them one at a time, I guess, through the whole program. Then if there's any other changes that we're going to do.
well, if there's any other changes, I'm not going one at a time here. If anybody's read their package and you've noticed that, so if there's another, first of all, you've made that motion, so I'll look for a seconder for that. Is there a seconder to extend the hour or to 4 hours? Okay, seconded by Councillor Flagler. All right then, any questions or comments to the motion? Go ahead.
Question. The amendment from 3 to 4, are we still leaving in the 1 hour add-on?
Through you, Mayor Martin, that would be at council's discretion. If you'd like to leave it in, we'll leave it in, or we can remove it.
So that's the mover. That's part of the motion.
Well, through you, Mr. Mayor, I believe I said there's one change. It was the 3 to a 4. So all the other remaining would remain the same for clarity, Deputy Mayor.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Okay, all in favor of the motion? Okay, and that's carried. So, all right then, any other questions around the report? Any questions or comments? Okay, so a motion to receive the balance of the reports. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, seconded by Councillor Clement. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay. Moving into correspondence, we don't have any correspondence today. We'll move into county council update.
Yeah. The last meeting, if we had the discussion about the waste pickup and let me get it up here. So yeah, it was basically a discussion on the garbage pickup and then the organics pickup. In terms of how that was gonna move forward, I think we kind of had minor discussions of it at this level, but basically what had been decided was no decisions were made at the county level. I think the county and I can't remember the name of the company. Have it here, Jim. Basically, the county and the company that's doing it will be coming to all the municipalities to make 2 presentations, one on the waste side in terms of what their plans are going forward, and another one on the organics pickup side. So council can expect, I imagine, within the next 2 to 3 months, we'll be getting 2 different presentations on this in terms of how we can move forward. I won't go into a lot of it because it's kind of detailed, and as I said, we'll have these discussions, I imagine, in the next month or 2. So I'll just leave it at that and be prepared.
Bob?
Through you, Mayor Martin, I can confirm for council that that delegation has been scheduled for our first meeting in May.
So I'll just leave it at that, and if any council members are interested, it's on the county council website there. I imagine it'll be somewhat a similar presentation to what we got in county, so if you want to have a quick look at it. I think that's about it. It wasn't a very long meeting, so we can leave it at that, and if I left everything, I'll get it at the next meeting.
All right, then, that's all we have for reports. Motion to receive the report, moved by Councillor Flagler. Second by Councillor Clement, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay. So next item here is, we don't have any notice of motion, so other business. And I just had one item in there with regards to our joint meeting with North Kawartha. Maybe you could save the date. There's no details yet, but we're looking at April 23rd for a meeting with North Kawartha to go over our joint services. And so we'll see where that falls out, but it's a Tuesday, so it's all in line with our regular meeting days. So anyways, the details and the agenda will be coming forward soon. Location? Probably North Kawartha. Okay, thank you. So that's all I have for new business right now.
Just for clarification, I just checked into this calendar. I thought that it was the weekend. That have we received word back on the delegation with MNR? Because that's Good Roads is like Monday, Tuesday, so I don't want to block anything that would.
So it's still early right now, but yeah, we'll keep that in mind.
Through you, Mayor Martin, no, we have not received official confirmation yet.
Okay. Be aware of that. So.
Yeah, well, whoever's going to that. So. Okay. Yeah, I did look into that about staying down there, and there was no hotels available, so to go down for the day. It's
no, and I wasn't planning on going to stay myself. It was just if we're going to go up, but we need to clear that morning or after.
Yeah,
if we're going to meet
so
with
we'll
the
keep that.
ministers.
If that comes through, it'll be canceled. All right then. Okay. So the next thing we have here is bylaws, and it's a bylaw that's quick.
So sure.
Yeah, bylaw 2024-20 for today's meeting. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, seconded by Councillor Flagler. All in favor, and that's carried. Okay, and now we're going to go into closed session. Okay. Not available.
Was in information.
Yeah. So sorry.
Did I miss the investment update, or was that just for information? It was passed in one of the reports.
Yeah, it was information.
We went, yes, if you listed all the things there.
So, okay, so the so motion to go into closed session. Okay. Yeah, well, it's motion to go into closed session moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, seconded by Councillor Clement, all in favor. Carried, and a motion for 5-minute recess. Okay, moved by Councillor Flagler, seconded by Councillor Doherty. All right, thank you. All right then, so we are back in open, so motion to resume the open meeting. Moved by Councillor Clement, seconded by Deputy Mayor Webb, all in favor. And that's carried. All right, the next item on here is the confirming bylaw for today's meeting. Motion to move the confirming bylaw. Moved by Councillor Clement, seconder. Councillor Doherty, all in favor? And that's carried. And motion to adjourn. Deputy Mayor Webb, seconded by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried.